Okay, new video here. I got my 15-foot Clipper Solitude canoe in here for some maintenance. More specifically, these Kevlar felt skid plates, which I'm going to add because this canoe is in need of a little bit of TLC, I guess I'll say. So, as you can see, this place here, this is actually the front of the boat. I think I damaged it from, I guess, just beaching it so many times. I like to run aground. And then if you come here to the back, I have this area that's worn through. And I think you can even feel the wood there. So I would like to fix it / cover it up with the skid plates. This canoe is 14 years old as of yesterday. But on the bottom here, there's a few places that have worn a little thin. I got a couple deeper scratches. So I think I'm going to try to fix those as best I can while I'm at it. With all that being said, I have no idea what I'm doing. This is all new to me, but we're going to figure it out as we go along. Basically, what I'm going to do now in preparation for these skids, I'm going to tape this area off. I'm going to tape the area around the skid plate. So I placed the skid plates on the canoe, and then I taped around them and around the entire main workspace of the bottom of the canoe. This tape is to prevent the epoxy from running down onto the sides of the canoe, an area which I don't intend on refinishing. After taping, I then geared up in my safety gear and sanded the entire work area, lightly sanding the whole thing and then focusing more on the specific parts that I know that I'll be adding material to. Okay, so the canoe has been sanded and I taped it all off and put newspaper down below. So this is basically my work area. Yeah, I don't know what to say. It feels good. I think it'll hold epoxy well. But basically I'm gonna lay all my pieces out. As I lay out all these pieces, I want to talk more about these skid plates. These skid plates are made of a Kevlar felt material and should make this area tremendously strong. I did try to cut this material with good scissors and an X-Acto knife and wasn't successful at all. I do believe these plates came from Western Canoe and Kayak in Abbotsford, BC, although they were a gift, so I'm not 100% sure. I've also seen many other very similar looking products online, and I'm sure they all work. So I have laid out my skid plates and all my pieces here. And if you look at this skid plate, I want to note that it actually is kind of discolored. I had it sitting on top of a desk in front of a window, and I think the UV light discolored it. I think. Not 100% sure on that, but that's what I think has happened. But if you look down here, yeah, my skid plate comes down here. And then I extended this a little bit to cover up my big scrape. And then I got a few pieces just on like the scrape lines, the big ones. I think that's just a piece that I cut extra. Anyways, it just got a little nick there. I'll put that on there. This is another one that's like semi-big. So I'll put a nice patch on that. And then we look at the back. I extended it in the same way. This one might have more discolorations, but this side is worse. You can see all the wear, but that's going to be totally covered by this thing. So what I got now, I'm going to mix up some epoxy. I'll show you my epoxy that I'm going to use, and then I'm going to mix it up, put my safety gear back on, and then I think I'm just going to have to hit this all with epoxy. Okay, so the epoxy I'm using is this G-Flex by West System. I ordered it on Amazon, and it is a 2-part epoxy. Well, look inside. You obviously got a red part and a clear part. Let me get my box here. I got epoxy resin, and then I got epoxy hardener. And if you look on the back, it tells you what to do. It bends metals, plastic, masonry. But it does say for permanent waterproof repairs. There you go, pot life 45 minutes. Working time 70 minutes. So I should have 75 minutes to get it all out and move stuff around. I think that's what that means. Gel time 3 to 4 hours and cure time 7 to 10 hours. So hopefully this will be ready for me to sand it and paint it in the morning, which would be nice. Anyways, it also does note that it's supposed to be at 22 degrees or more. And right now it's probably slightly colder than that, but it was inside. And once I get it on there, I'm going to run a heater. But basically, it calls for 50-50 or a 1-to-1 ratio of epoxy. So I'm going to take a permanent felt and I'm going to mark a mark on here and a mark on here at the same level, and then empty it into a container and fill it up to that point. I'm going to mix it all together. Once I start mixing, I'm just going to start going. So I'm just going to, like I said, I'm just going to go. So this video, I'll probably switch to time lapse once I start mixing. But I'm going to gear up, gloves on. I might double layer gloves. I have had issues in the past reacting to epoxy. Probably mostly just because I did not wear gloves, which was probably a mistake. But anyway, all swelled up in the face, so I'm just going to be super cautious. Put on my whole kit, even though I look stupid, and go to town. So that's what I'm going to do. West Flex, G Flex, epoxy resin, 1-to-1, mix it up. Okay, I'm a little fogged up here, but everything has been fiberglass. We got the skid plate on. And you see it's got plenty of resin in there. And then if you look up here, I took off a few of those pieces and I just kind of put resin on some of the smaller scratches. And I determined that was going to be fine. But I got all this up here. And then we got the front skid plate all up in here. Again, it's got plenty of resin in there. And I think what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to wait till this cools or solidifies a little bit. And then I'm going to peel off this tape on the front, just so I don't have the tape epoxied there. But once the drips stop, I'm going to peel off that paint. And then, yeah, then I'm just going to let it sit and harden up. Okay, so it is now the next day, and as you can see, the boat has been drying for quite a while. All this epoxy is now, I guess it's dry, although it does have a weird, like, almost clammy feeling to it. But if you look, there's my fiberglass, that's a scratch, fiberglass, and then this is just the resin. All these pieces look pretty good, and like some of this stuff here is just, there are scratches. So I just threw some resin on there that I'm gonna like sand off, and I figured it would fill the gaps. This is where I originally had a piece of fiberglass laid down, but I was like, these scratches just aren't deep enough to need more fiberglass. So I thought a coat of resin was a good idea. But I have one piece that I'm kind of annoyed with myself. But right here, I used it to fix this scratch, and then this one here. I originally cut this piece to cover both, but then in the heat of the excitement, I thought I was going to use two different pieces, and then I ended up using one and didn't cover the one scratch there. And that one was like big enough that I would have liked to have some fiberglass sheeting over it. But anyways, I'm not going to be upset about it. It is what it is, not a big deal. Anyways, also these skid plates are good, but they do, I think they look pretty ugly. both like the texture and then obviously the color. So like to me it needs to be painted anyways, but obviously I'm gonna paint. But like I couldn't rock with just that on my boat. I think it would look not good. So anyways, with all this being said, I am gonna leave this epoxy drying hardening for a little bit longer, and I'm gonna roll this boat over. Basically I have a 360 camera and this fishing rod holder that I need to mount better to the boat. And now that it's in dry docks, I thought it was the perfect time to do it. So that being said, I'm going to roll this boat over, and then I'll talk more about my mount situation once it's over. So what I have going is I have this Insta360 on this 10-foot long selfie stick. And then I got this fishing rod holder, which I have mounted in here, like this. I also have another mount here. That's a cup holder. But this mount here works, except my camera always rocks back and forth. Because this rod, or yoke, or whatever it's called, is a little bit loose. And it scares me every time I have my camera out on its mast. But I'm worried that it's going to break off. I do not want that. Also, this mount here, when I have the Canoe on my roof, this part reaches down far enough that it interferes, so it can't get on the roof rack. It can't sit straight. So I have to go with these foam blocks to have it on my roof properly. So I'm going to move this mount to, I think, something here. That's the plan. So it's a good opportunity to do that while this canoe is in. So I'm going to take this off, see how it mounts, see how it fits, see how it works. And then I'm probably going to have to drill some holes in the side of this boat and do that. But that's the plan now. So basically, my plan is to take this piece of cedar and this mount, and I'm going to have to drill a couple holes through this side. And then that's where I'm going to be putting my mount. And if you look from this angle, you can see my mount will come in here, and then it will go any which angle. And I will note that this button would be really nice if it was on this side. So maybe I should put it on that side. Oh. No, I want it on this side. So yeah, I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna drill some holes. I'm gonna cut this wood down, drill some holes, and silicone it back together.
As I get the saw out and start making my mount, I'll put in some Insta360 footage so you can see why I want to have this mount. I have big plans to document my trips this summer, as well as the ones you've already seen on this channel. I recommend starting with my 130 kilometer solo canoe of Revelstoke Lake if you haven't already seen it. Please like and subscribe. Now back to this mount.
Okay, so my mount is totally installed now. It looks good. It is definitely sturdier than it was on this pole. These bolts, I will cut them a little bit shorter and probably put some silicone on the end just so they're not sharp, just in case. It looks good. As you can see, I got the 10-foot selfie stick, which I'm aware is obnoxious, but this should get me some good footage. And if I slide this down, I guess I'll show you what I got. This is originally a fishing rod pole, and then I just put some old camp mat in there, and now it holds the selfie stick, and it is adjustable here. We got just enough clearance to adjust this. You adjust it down, up, and then if we go, the button is down here. So I think earlier I said I didn't want the button at the front. I had the thing upside down, so the button is at the bottom towards me, which is actually pretty decent. So if I push that button and I can pull this out, and I can put that back down, I can aim this way, and then I can put it out, and then if I so desire, I can turn this around and have it facing the other way. I can adjust this. I guess I'm not gonna say 360 degrees because that's probably not true, because this thing will hit at some point. It'll hit the gunnel, but that looks really good for me. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna roll this canoe over, and then I'm gonna sand everything down and make it all smooth, and then get it painted. Okay, the canoe is as sanded as I'm gonna sand it, and I taped off all the edges and got it ready to be painted. But if you look, it is, I don't know how this is actually gonna look on camera, but like right here there's like an edge, and you're gonna be able to see this. But like some of these I did better than others, but it is sanded down as much as I'm gonna sand it. And like I said, the back, like this, still has texture, but it's like, I don't care. It's going to be painted. It's on the bottom of the canoe. I just want it to look half decent. So that's where we're going. You can see this is sort of why I didn't want to keep sanding right there. Because like the more I sanded trying to get this stuff flat, it's also hitting the white of the canoe and it is sanding it off. And I do not want to sand through. Again, I do not care that much because it is the backside. And ultimately I just want this to be better than it was, and we have that. So with that being said, I'm just gonna throw some paint on it. I just have, I shall go show you. I come in here, staying warm. I got Tremclad gloss white and then Tremclad gloss white in a can, and I'm going to use this like regular brush on paint first, and then if I have any touch-ups or anything, I'm gonna hit it with the spray can. But I got this can. Hopefully it covers the whole thing. I think it says it covers like 20 to 25 square feet, and hopefully that is the size of a canoe. I did no math. Yeah, anyways, with that being said, I'm gonna shake this can up and go to town painting this canoe. Hopefully it looks good, because I will say I am a little bit concerned. Just when I put on all the epoxy, like it looked pretty ugly. So hopefully it looks pretty good after this. And if not, this is my canoe now. So the canoe is now totally done. My paint has been drying for about a day and a half now. You can still see I do have blemishes, I guess you say, where I did not sand well enough. But this looks, it looks good enough for me. Honestly, it looks better, maybe better than I thought. I guess deep down I thought a little piece of me thought I'd make it perfect, but the realization is that was never gonna happen. So this looks pretty good to me. You can see the paint line from where it's not painted to where it's painted, but the whole bottom is painted, and like I said, I think it looks good. And then if you look up here, my skid plate coming down here, I got this kind of weird body line or weird paint line. But like I said, overall I think this looks really good. I have a couple final I think I just said it was totally done, but I have a couple final touches I need to do. I gotta lop these screws off with my angle grinder, And then I got a couple stickers, which I think I'm gonna roll the canoe, drag the canoe out to the front yard. We'll see it in natural light. I'll put on my final stickers, and that'll be the end of this video. But first, I'm gonna cut those off. So let's go. Well, there we go. I put my stickers on. I put them on the back side of the Clipper logo on both sides. I was originally thinking up here at the front, but this side has the Solitude. And I thought it was gonna be weird if it was unsymmetrical, I guess I'd say. And we got that behind. I think it looks pretty good. I got a 4-pack of stickers, so I think I'll throw one on my van. And I guess the last thing I say, I will address the fact that my face is swollen, and that was because of the epoxy. So I'm glad to be done this project. It looks good to me. And a final thing to note, I put some silicone over there just to eliminate the sharp edges. I'm gonna roll this thing over. And that's it. Hopefully we're set up for another 14 years of good service. And with that being said, that's it. That's the end of this episode. Peace.